I'm happy to introduce you here today. So Matthew Drinkwater, the head of fashion innovation agency at the London College of Fashion. Quite a long introduction, so maybe you can explore a little bit deeper what technology and fashion means for you and how you are looking at it, starting, of course, from the Fashion Innovation Agency.
Thanks, Anne. Thanks, Berlin. It's lovely to be here. Thank you to the Fashion Council of Germany and to eBay. It's so good to be back in Berlin. It's been too long. So yeah, I have a very long title. You missed off University of the Arts London, which makes it even longer. So yeah,
UAL, yeah, sorry.
I head up a team at London College of Fashion that has this really lovely remit to explore any emerging technology and its impact on the fashion and retail industries. So the team and I just build proof of concept with that technology to demonstrate what's possible, try and accelerate the pace of adoption of that technology, and then bring all of that learning back into the university, and hopefully send out another generation of creatives with a much better understanding of emerging technology and how to apply it in whatever field they're going into.
Yeah. Because, working with my agency MASJIEN, as I just mentioned, we always like this sweet spot where fashion, sustainability and technology meet, so we can, of course, accelerate sustainability, but also let creativity flourish. I think that's also the sweet spot where we both focus on. And I know there's a lot of different angles and technologies we can talk about, but of course artificial intelligence is one that is high on the agenda, and I can assume a lot of people have also a lot of questions about what's going on. How do we see this current AI wave compared to earlier innovations? Why is everybody so excited about this technology in particular?
So, I started the team at London College of Fashion 12 years ago. So we have seen a lot of hype cycles around technology, from wearable technology to the Internet of Things, sort of metaverse, Web3, all of those elements. This one is different, because I think whatever you're doing in fashion today, it is going to be impacted by artificial intelligence. I think whether you're creating products, if you're communicating it, or ultimately if you're consuming it, every single element is impacted by artificial intelligence. And the things that we as a team are able to do is being enhanced by those technologies. So projects that were difficult for us to deliver a number of years ago are becoming really possible. I mean, if anyone follows what I do on LinkedIn, some of the work that we are able to publish has only been enabled through the advent of some of the generative tools that are available.
Yeah, and do you also see a difference, for example, for the fashion creatives and the brands, in how they embrace new tools? Are they more open to these AI tools than other technologies before?
So it's an interesting question, because I think if you kind of get a sense of what the media conversation is around artificial intelligence, there's a huge amount of fear around those technologies. I guess our early work in AI was probably around 2019. I had some friends at MIT in the US, and we were looking at how we could use a technique called generative adversarial networks, which were allowing us to kind of scrape huge amounts of data. And we wanted to design dresses, so we scraped about 40,000 images of dresses, and then generated these new ones. And I remember showing them to some young designers at the college, and I was hugely proud of what we had created, these beautiful dresses. And they kind of looked at me and said, "Matt, I know how to design a dress, what's this?" And I think kind of it was really interesting for me, just as we were pushing the use of the tool to kind of showcase some element of perfection, that actually when I was showing the video of what we created to them, there were a couple of frames where things hadn't worked properly, and some kind of artifacts and mistakes in what we'd done. and as we were talking, they said, "Oh, stop, go back." And so I was like, fine. Yeah, it didn't work properly there. And then what I know, this is interesting. This is, look at how, the garment doesn't look as it should, but they found that as a tool of inspiration really interesting. And I think kind of one of the things where creatives can begin to look at what is happening, it's like artificial intelligence is not the end point. That is your starting point. This is your creative tool to allow you to express things that you couldn't do before. From idea to visualization is becoming quicker, but it is allowing you to do things that perhaps you couldn't do before. When we started running a course in AI, just after that, at the end of 2019, early 2020.
Within the fashion hall.
Yeah. The BBC came to film it, and they interviewed a lot of the students. And it's still on YouTube, so you can go find it. If you look at Artificial Intelligence, London College of Fashion, you'll find it. But many of the things that the students say in that video from 6 years ago is still what the industry is talking about. And what I want to say is that fear that surrounds the technology is something that as you begin to utilize the tool, it begins to disappear. You recognize immediately what it can do, but also what it cannot do. This is something that the industry does not need to be scared of. It's something to really embrace and move forward. So yeah, I think there are different ways that creators can engage, but it's a big one.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm also going to start a little bit of visualization of the tools you have developed to make it a little bit more tangible of what the innovation agency is working about. And maybe also it's nice for you to show a little bit more or dive a little bit deeper in one of the projects.
Yeah, so we've been doing many years of this kind of work, and I think what has changed certainly over the last 3 or 4 is our ability to move much more quickly. And so when I think back to 2019, 2020, there was a lot of compute power, a lot of coding requirements in what we were doing. And now, I mean, I look at everyone in this audience has a smartphone. Everyone can generate kind of campaign quality imagery. So I think we always ask ourselves the question, well, what's next? How do we begin to push that label? So yeah, some of these projects are just taking one photo shoot. So we photographed one of the team, and we were able to generate the dresses that she could wear. We could kind of tweak the designs whilst they were on her. We can change the colour of that. We can then animate her so we can get her to walk. We can simulate the movement of the garment. And then we can put her anywhere. I think these things are extraordinary. Like from one photo, you can build an entire campaign around a product that has yet to be created. And I think kind of the longer term impact of these tools will allow us to completely redesign supply chains, business models. Every element of what we know around the fashion industry today can be changed by what we're doing. So.
Because where do you see the biggest impact today?
So I think kind of it's really interesting because we spend a lot of time talking to retailers, and I think it's still very early days for actually teams to be deploying the technology beyond its most simple form. You know, I think sometimes when I show these things, there is an element of people perceiving that it's just a text prompt and that's what the output is. There's still quite a lot of manual work required to deliver these sorts of projects. But I think visually it is allowing our designers, we built a tool which allowed them to sketch and then we can create a video from that immediately. So from the creative aspect, it's really empowering, almost like a new generation. Probably the biggest area where there's been impact and that I feel has opened up the doors that weren't there before. It's like generative AI as an art form. So I'm a judge on AI Fashion Week, and kind of what's happened over the years is that you're seeing the tools become so widely available that anybody is beginning to find their voice and be able to create their own style. And it's almost like this entirely new vertical of AI art has been created. I mean, even to the point that John, 2 weeks ago, I was with NVIDIA in Paris, and they gave us this enormous space to showcase our AI artwork, both of our work and our students.
Yeah. And how was the feedback? How was the reaction?
Like, it's wild. I think the things that you can create, the storytelling that you can begin to build, is almost like a new narrative. It's a new medium for us to explore. But then, of course, there are very practical tools, and some of the things that we're releasing is the virtual try-on tools that we can build, the sketch to animation. There's a little snippet in that video of a text to 3D tool that we're building. These things will have immediate impact to design teams, creative teams within businesses.
And maybe is there a last tip also for the audience to, if they want to take a deep dive into AI, which tools or platforms should they look at, or what's your advice?
So if I go back to my remit from the college, which is like originally when I started, it was like, Matt, can you look sort of 3 to 5 years into the future and start pulling stuff out of research and building around that? And mostly around kind of hardware and immersive technologies where the team's skill set is really deep. I feel quite confident for artificial intelligence. I don't know, 3 to 5 weeks feels like a stretch. Those tools are changing very quickly, but I would implore everyone to be utilising kind of just on their day-to-day basis, like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude. These are all really nice tools to get you grounded. Then kind of the image visualization tools are everywhere. The DALL-E, Midjourney are great. And then video generation, again, is changing really quickly. There's Sora, VO3, Kling. You can go on and like every week there'll be something new. So even for us as a team, it's a challenge. Like someone will come into the office and say, Matt, did you see this? Don't worry too much about the tools. They will change over time. But I think be critical. Critical thinking is really important in what you're delivering. Why are you using them? What is the output you want to generate? Understand how the tools work, because I think that understanding is really kind of what has allowed the narrative around artificial intelligence, this utopia or dystopia, to become such a big thing. Like if you're working within that space, it feels a bit different.
So I hope you make notes and you spend some time tomorrow morning on Midjourney, Sora, or even ChatGPT, which you probably or hopefully already do. We unfortunately do not have any time left for Q&A, but I'm happy to say that Matthew is still around if ever you want to ask him some questions, or maybe show him some of the generative AI work you have developed yourself. So thank you, Matthew.
Thank you so much. Thank you.